Welcome to the Daily Agenda. There have been some very interesting events as usual, and obviously that gives us plenty to talk and comment about. First of all, I want to open tonight by remembering our good friend Kevin Bryan, a former regional organiser and a very successful one of the British National Party in the Northwest, who was in hospital tonight seriously ill with a leaking heart valve. And we wish Kevin the best. He was scheduled to appear on the Daily Agenda to do a live stream about the life of John Tyndall. But obviously that will be postponed now and to a future date when Kevin hopefully has recovered and regained his composure. At the moment he's finding it incredibly difficult to breathe. So we wish Kevin all the best. Secondly, soon there will be members only content on this channel, and the reason why is because the channel needs to expand. We have to compete with and displace the Centre Riot. This is a fact that I've made clear many times. In the last week we've had a number of I guess you could say high profile YouTubers visit the channel, which shows that it's actually breaking through to a much wider audience, and that's a good thing, I would say. But we need to expand the channel, and we need to invest in a new studio, in truth. And so therefore, if you would consider taking out a paid subscription, a member subscription, at even the smallest rate, it would greatly help the channel to expand. And of course, like, comment and subscribe, and advise other people to do the same, because we're heading in the right direction. And that direction, as far as I'm concerned, is displacement of the Centre Riot, because they've been allowed to dominate the, I guess you could say, the social media hemisphere. Pumped and promoted, of course, by vested interests, because we all know what the Centre Riot is, and that includes the Lotus Eaters, does it not? However, yes, England awakes, does it? England is awake, my goodness, what happened? How did it happen? Well, in truth, the flag rebellion, so-called, which continues to flutter across the country, it is a rebellion. And I'll tell you why it's a rebellion. Because the regime doesn't want it. It effectively has forbidden it without actually banning it. It'll get round to that later, I'm perfectly sure. And people continue to put up the flags, they take them down, and the flags go back up. So there you go, that is an act of rebellion, is it not? Of disobedience. And so therefore there is a rebellion taking place. And as to this policy of taking down the flags, and when they eventually get heavy-handed about it because people will not back down to them, that in itself, as I said last night, will only make the English even more militant, quite frankly. And that's going to have very unpleasant consequences. But the truth of the matter is, this flag rebellion is driven by a much deeper underlying emotion. And it's namely identity shaming. The fact that the English for decades have been under attack, massively, worldwide, absolutely. And having invited into their midst, well, not invited, but they've been brought into the midst. They were never invited by the vast majority, because the vast majority never wanted them. And 76% of whites support remigration. So therefore, there is no appetite amongst the vast majority of the white population of this country for multiculturalism, the diversity delusion, and mass immigration, particularly the illegal boat crossings. So that much is perfectly clear, is it not? But yes, England expects what? England expects, really, well, England can expect to be trodden all over, spat at and abused by the entire world with a massive inferiority complex. Because that is the truth, isn't it? Because England achieved such great things. But it did so in league with the Welsh and the Scottish and the Irish. But yes, it's England that gets the brunt of it. The English that get the brunt of it. And the English language, of course, horribly bastardized by the Americans, quite frankly. And that's no offence to any American, and if you are offended, well, that's just too bad. It's just the way it goes. You know, I seem to have this habit of offending people without actually intending to offend them. And that's an interesting point, you know, is people keep saying, you love offending people. Actually, I don't love offending people. In my private life, I'm actually a very laid-back, passive person. I live a very solitary and secluded lifestyle. I don't have an awful lot to do with people, and I certainly don't go out of my way to cause offence to anyone. But I've always been outspoken, and that's the way my father raised me to be. My mother was much more reserved, which is in keeping more with my own nature, in truth. But yes, that side of my nature is very much like my father, who raised me to be outspoken and to speak the truth. And that's what I'm doing, and some people get offended by it. And that's just too bad, isn't it? Speaking of being offended, Kevin Bryan this morning before he went in hospital tipped me off about some clown called Alfred Horn. A fake profile, obviously. He has only 2 friends, and they're both on Facebook connected to the British National Party. So they've got an axe to grind, have they not? And he says, promoting my videos all over Facebook, yeah, you know, he's a dodgy twat, Tomlin is, very eloquent, but, you know, his videos about Tommy Robinson are brilliant and everyone should watch them. So I contacted him and asked him to explain why he thinks I'm a dodgy twat. Well, a twat is useful, and I'm a thoroughly useful twat, if anything, not a dodgy one. And there's nothing dodgy going on in my life at all. I don't do criminal activity, nor do I do anything that's remotely shady or even immoral, and certainly not criminal. Although anybody can become a criminal these days, all you have to do is speak the truth. It's a revolutionary act, remember, in the Orwellian age that we live in. And so, yes, I'm awaiting a response from Albert Horn. The names these people give themselves, they're astonishing, aren't they? Another coward who has to hide behind a fake profile. You know, come face out, Mr. Horn, and tell it the way it is. And show us some evidence as to why you think I'm a dodgy twat. Because I won't allow you to speak to me like that in person. I will definitely put you on the spot, and nobody says things like that about me and gets away with it. And I will pursue the truth, and I won't drop it until you've explained it and supplied the evidence. And I can actually assure everyone that all that will happen is a litany of abuse and no evidence, because that's the way all of these little trolls operate. Okay? So yes, I would say probably that makes him a very dodgy twat, because in truth, if he thinks I'm a dodgy twat and he's promoting me all over Facebook, that's a king-size twat, is it not? Well, that's it with the twattery for tonight. Anyway, there'll be plenty more twattery to come in a nation infested with twats. So there we go. Speaking of twats, yes, absolutely. Yes, the Centre Riot. One of Tommy's twats, for want of a better description, one of his fanboys, you know. You're familiar now with that description, aren't you, fanboy? So yes, came onto this channel to the night and said, oh, well, now, see, the thing is, I'd put 40,000 football hooligans up against a police shield wall any day, and I know perfectly well they'd smash that shield wall and turn over the police. Yeah, absolutely right. I don't doubt it either. Then what? Then what? So that's their grand strategy, is it? Throw 40,000 football hooligans against a police shield wall, smash it to pieces, and then what? Is that what they call an uprising? Is that what they call civil war? Is that why they're always ranting about this civil war? I mean, come on. These people are clueless in the context of strategy, and actually quite dangerous. Damned dangerous. Damn dangerous, I would say. Because if that's their only strategy, and their strategic thinking works along the lines of, let's throw 40,000 football hooligans into smashing a police line, and they've got nothing else to come after that, then what? Then what? Oh dear, oh dear. It's ridiculous. You know, they just don't put any constructive thought into the things that they say. Or maybe to them that is constructive thinking. You know, because you've got to remember I'm a dodgy twat, according to Horn. Rounding the horn, or drinking from the horn. I think that one's been drinking from the horn far too much. If it hasn't, it certainly needs to. But an elixir of truth, which is what you get on this channel. Okay? So yes, absolutely. I mean, look, that in itself is not what I'm talking about with a flag rebellion. Throwing 40,000 football hooligans against a police shield wall. No, on the contrary. I'm not advocating that in any way, shape or form. Actually, I think it's absolutely bloody ridiculous. It's stillborn from the very outset. Might look good on camera, it'd be great clickbait, and that's the whole problem with the Centre Riot, isn't it? They're just clickbait kids. They love clickbait, and clickbait means cash, okay? Cash, clickbait. The more views they get, the more cash rolls in for their monetized channels. And for me, it's about substance, not clickbait. And so, in terms of the flag rebellion, the reason why it's happened and that it's going to continue to grow and morph into something else is because the English have been made to feel ashamed of themselves. They've been told how worthless and bad and shit and horrible and disgusting they are. What was it that Narinda Kaur said? And she's right at the top of the remigration list. Remember that, and she'd better remember it as well, because she'll be on that list, and that list will be actioned the moment we're in a position to do it. Being English is shite and it needs to be abolished. There you go, that's subversion. It's also incitement to racial hatred, as far as I'm concerned. And Narinda Kaur, as I said, will have her assets seized with just enough money left to make a new home in India. But everything she's bled out of this country, everything she's milked out of this country, will be seized before she's kicked out of this country. And that's the point I'm making about the English uprising, as it were, the reawakening of England. Englishness has been beneath the soil, dormant. There's been a light permafrost covering it for decades, but now spring has sprung, and those seedlings are carrying with them English flags. We explained the flag of St. George last night, that how it's not really English, it's an imposition flag from Rome, bearing the name of a brown-skinned Palestinian, St. George, like Jesus, another brown-skinned Palestinian. Not truly English at all, is it? Certainly not European, but there you go. Best not upset the Christians again, because I know how much they like whining and sobbing on this channel when I do. Not that I actually care, mind you, because I'm here to speak the truth, aren't I, my dodgy twat? So yes, the permafrost has been penetrated and the seedlings are producing little English flags, and they're growing into bigger English flags, and they're growing everywhere like crocus bulbs and snowdrops in early spring. And the problem is they're trying to clutch them all up, but they can't uproot the bulbs, so they'll come back. And do you understand the point that I'm making, the analogy? If you can't uproot all the bulbs, then you will never actually remove the flower itself. And the flower of English nationalism is rising, and it's going to continue rising. And the reason why is because the English now realise that they've gone beyond the 11th hour. That's the title of John Tyndall's book, The 11th Hour. Very good book, very interesting. Very great political operator, Mr. Tyndall. But in truth, we've moved to 1 minute to midnight. This is the last chance saloon, and it's 1 minute to midnight. Don't ever forget it, don't ever doubt it. That's what's really happening in England today. And the English know it. And they know that because of swamping and the different target dates that we have of Tommy saying it's going to be 2040 before whites are a minority, and then other factions saying it's going to be the 2060s, 2050s. Who knows, at this rate of acceleration, it will be in that period, the 40s to the 60s, where whites become a minority. And it will be in England first and foremost, will it not? And so this is what's awakening the English. And in truth, this rebellion is not going to die down at all. The more they try to stamp it out, the more militant it will become. And of course, eventually it will spill out into acts far beyond 40,000 for football hooligans smashing police shield walls, which I can see happening as well, in truth, because there's just that mentality there to make it happen. And some people just don't have a grasp of strategy beyond that, and they don't want one either, and that's just the way it is. There's not an awful lot I can do to change people's thinking. I can change some people's thinking, but some people are just absolutely set in their ways, and they're bent on a particular cause, and I can't stop them, and I won't try to either. I'm speaking to those who have some good sense left, I would hope. I would hope that people who come to the Daily Agenda do have good sense and leave with even more good sense. That's what I'm trying to achieve. It's the Good Sense channel. It's not the Good News Network. It's the Good Sense channel. There being a difference, of course, and I'm sure you haven't missed it. But absolutely not. No, this English nationalism, is it going to morph beyond just a flag waving protest? Because in actual fact it's not that at all. The flags are just an outward manifestation of what's really happening behind the scenes all over England. There is deep discontent, great anger across this entire land of England, or England as the Danes call it, and they still call it that way now, even from the Viking Age. And so that's the root cause of it. The suppression, the shame, the identity shaming, and all these foreigners coming here and telling us what a load of shits we are, basically, for having built the world's greatest empire, given the world its only international language, English, the language of politics, finance and power. And we're all shitbags for doing it. And we should all be ashamed of it. And we should all be ashamed of improving the living conditions in the shitholes that they came from. How about that one? You like that one, do you? Is that enough to offend them? I hope so. Because it's true. It is true. And where they've settled in this country and become the majority, they've simply turned it into the shitholes that they came out of. That's all they've done in this country. And the English have had enough of it, and we don't want any more of it. And we intend to put a stop to it, and we intend to ensure remigration becomes a reality. So all of these race-baiting grifters that are allowed on television, left, right and centre, can rant and rave all they want, because you're all on a remigration flight the moment we're in a position to do it. And they will be the first to go. Being no doubt about that. We will always honour our promises. But England itself is most definitely awakening. But looking at Westminster, which is in the profile pic, a photo I took myself some years ago, I think it was 2011 in actual fact, the main photograph was of Oliver Cromwell outside Parliament. The previous Great Rebellion, which brought an end to the Catholic supremacy over England. And in essence, that's what we're trying to do now, isn't it? We're trying to bring another foreign occupation government to an end and get rid of its puppet. Then it was Charles I, now it's Starmer and his criminal gang. You know? And this was always going to happen. It was always destined to happen at this very moment in time. And the reason why is because during those 14 years, 14 appalling years of that absolutely atrocious globalist Tory government, there was still this mindset in the Centre Riot that, oh well, the Tories, you know, they're better than Labour. Centre Riot have always been a major problem, and that's one of their principal delusions. And when Labour came to power, and then, you know, Southport happened, and that raft of imprisonments, politically motivated prosecutions mostly, obviously the mood changed, didn't it, big time. It had already changed when Labour won the general election with 20% of the eligible electorate backing them. Because we don't have a true representative democracy, which we would only get under proportional representation. We have this elective dictatorship system, which simply breeds instruments of tyranny to prop it up and oppress the population, primarily the English. And the English have had enough of these instruments of tyranny. They've had enough of being told this shit. They've had enough of being identity shamed. And the great English uprising is now here. And it's not going to be stopped. It is not going to be stopped, I absolutely guarantee you. It is going to spread and escalate everywhere across this country. That is my absolute guarantee of what will happen. And I don't think the English are in any mood now whatsoever to back down. That phrase that's bandied around quite often right now, when the Saxons learned to hate, well, here we are. We're at that moment. And the flag rebellion is symptomatic of something far deeper. It's the, as I said, it's the English national identity awakening from the permafrost of the last few decades of failure, decline and identity shaming. And that genie's not going back in that bottle at all. That bottle is now well and truly smashed, and the English genie, as it were, is everywhere. It's abroad, on the land, across the land, and it's reawakening England for the great confrontation, for the great battle ahead to save England from foreign occupation government and the hostile subversive forces that it brings here to destroy us. And that's all there is to it. And so England has awakened. Will it lead to an English Parliament based in York? we'll see in due course. We'll see in due course. My crystal balls, I left it at home tonight, so I can't entirely see everything that's going to happen. I'm very sorry, you know, I meant to bring the crystal ball out with me so I could sit here and predict the future to you with great accuracy, but oh well. There's always another time, isn't there? I'll have to dig it out. I don't even know where it is. I'll dig it out and we'll do a crystal ball reading, as it were. But I don't need a crystal ball. All I need to do is draw upon 35 years of experience and be, I could put it, totally in touch with what's happening right now. And the prediction is that England has now awoken, and the English dragon, or for some people the English lion, which is actually from the Plantagenets, the French, is roaring. And it's going to roar even louder, and no one's going to stop it. We are going to retake control of England, and we are going to expel foreign occupation government and all the subversive elements that it's brought here. And if you don't like it, no problem. That's just too bad. The English have awoken.